This podcast is brought to you by Sun Tanning Salon. Do you suffer from eczema or psoriasis? You have acne or sore muscles? Head on in today and visit the tanning beds. They got regular and mega stand-up beds. Get that beautifully tan look that you're looking for. They also offer natural Mystic Spray Tan. You can also purchase premium products such as Australian Gold, California Tan, Designer Skin, and Swedish Beauty. There's many different packages to choose from, 6-session package or a 30-day pass, even single sessions. Sign up today in your membership and get $70 worth of product. They're located across from Masonville Mall in the Wendy's Plaza at 60 North Centre Road, London, Ontario. Visit Sun Tanning today. Okay, welcome to Studio 88. I'm here with my very good friend, Jesse Gross. Jesse, welcome to the podcast. I truly appreciate you coming in today.
Right on. Thank you, Jamie. Thanks for having me. Good to see you.
The reason I'm bringing you back on the podcast is because...
Gonna come fight, yeah.
September 28th. We've twisted his arm enough, and I think put enough pressure on you. And I have to tell you, I'm not kissing your ass. I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. I've been a fan of you forever.
That's a goddamn lie, and you know
and
it,
it's
Jamie.
Not a lie. It's not a lie. I truly mean it. There's something that's different about you compared to everybody else. There's a fire in you. You're like a natural fighter. Where did that all come from? Like what got you into combat sports where you just...
I have no idea. I really don't. There's just something in people that either they fight or they don't, or I shouldn't even say that. It's because it's weird that it's enjoyable, right? And it's really hard to explain to people. They're just like, "Oh, you fight? Oh, why?" Like and you're like, "I don't know. I love it." Like it's not a thrill-seeking thing. It is a weird feeling when it's just like, "Oh, we're gonna fight? Oh, wow, this makes me happy. Okay, yeah, come here, let's talk a minute." Right?
Yeah.
That freaks people out.
Where did you start?
For fighting,
like was it boxing, karate, or did you do any of that stuff as a kid?
No, it's really weird. I just moved to London. I moved to London for school when I was 20 to go to college, and I was at the bar one night, and then I get back to my place, my apartment building, and it was about like 3 o'clock in the morning, and there's this guy about my age, and he's just blood everywhere, and I was like, "Oh my God, like, are you okay?" Right? And I start talking to this guy. He's like, yeah. You have no idea. 4 guys tried to jump me, but I like smashed them out. Blah blah. I've been training MMA for X amount of years, and I'm just like, all right, I don't know if I believe this story looking at you, but I mean, we'll go with it, right? So anyway, we jump on the elevator. He went to his place. I went to mine. I never thought anything of it. After that, because kind of just that was it. 3 days later, I'm on the bus. And this guy comes up and he taps me on the shoulder. He's like, "Hey, bro, what's up?" And I'm like, "Hey, guy." And he's, "Oh, you don't remember me? I'm the guy that got in that fight, yada, yada." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that was you." Like I didn't even recognize him because he's not covered in blood, And then so he starts telling me about him training at this place called Team Tompkins. And I ride the bus back to our building where we lived. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm going down tomorrow night." And I'm like, "Bring me." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, if you want, And I didn't know it at the time. He explained to me later that a lot of people asked him before to, like, take him down there and do the thing or whatever. And then they just don't show up, or they would go once and that was it. I was different. He took me, and then on the after that first class, I was like, "Holy crap, like, let's do this again. When's it open?" And he's like, 4 nights a week. It's open tomorrow. I'm going tomorrow. I'm like, "Yeah, let's go." And then I called him up the next day, and he was like, "Oh, I'm sick." I was like, "I don't care." And I just went by myself.
Do you remember your first session? Who was it with?
His name was Brendan Vincent. And I don't know where he's at anymore today. He trained at the club for probably about 2 or 3 years when I first got started until I stopped seeing him, and he kind of just faded away. But yeah, he was a good guy, and that's how I got into the door. And I walked.
How long was it before your first fight?
5 months.
Oh, shit.
So that was another weird thing.
Talk to me about it.
Because he had been there for a couple years as it was, and hadn't really done anything. I think maybe like a smoker or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I felt nervous when I was like, hey man, like they're gonna let me fight. Like, is that cool with you? Like, I felt bad for him because like I kind of progressed so quickly, and to the point where they're just like, yeah, you want to fight, you got it, go nuts. And I couldn't believe it. I thought it was way too fast, but I wasn't gonna say no either, right? Like in my head, I knew the second I walked in the door, like I wasn't there for exercise. I wasn't there to make friends and be buddy and just get in shape. No, I wanted to do damage at some point, but I figured it would take at least a year and then some to get enough training. And
so you had some natural ability then.
yeah,
Were you always athletic? Because I know you've done.
Yeah, I'm just a natural athlete. Like,
what did you do athlete wise before, like football?
Everything. There's the only sport in high school I didn't play was soccer. So I did everything at least once.
Is that because you didn't like to fall down in the whining?
It was because it was same time as football.
Yeah,
and
gotcha.
if it wasn't, I would have
You
did
would've
that
done it
too.
too.
I would have did it too. Yeah.
Tell me about your first fight. Who was it against? Do you remember?
Yeah, I fought a guy. Adam Cunningham was his name. That was a really weird experience because I showed up, right? Never even seen a cage before. Team Tompkins never had a cage. They just had a padded wall that was about 3 feet high. So if you wrestled against it too much, your head went into the brick. So like I'd never seen a live MMA show. I'd never been in a cage before. It was just all of it, all at once, right? And this, like I said, 5 months. Like this happened fast. And then
who cornered you for that?
Chris Clements. He grabbed me up right away. I was at the club about a month and a half, and then he kind of was watching or something, saw something out of his eye, and he grabbed me and he started training me up, and he taught me quite a few of his tricks and moves, and kind of
he's so crafty.
Just shaped me into following around his style, and it worked out well because we're similar body type and athletic ability, so that worked out well. Yeah.
What was the toughest fight to date?
I always say my first 4 fights as an amateur were probably my toughest because I didn't know anything, and I was a guy that just constantly bit off more than I could chew. So I shouldn't have took my first fight because I didn't have enough skill, but I did it anyway. I was 0-0, never seen a cage, never been in one, and I ended up fighting a guy that was 19-3.
Wow.
And then a few months after the fight, my buddy pulls out this MMA magazine that he found at a variety store. Adam Cunningham ranked the second best amateur fighter in all the nation, and they wanted him to fight the number 155 guy in the nation. So they lined up this fight for these two to fight each other, and I was like, oh, well, that's the guy I just fought. And I took him to a decision. That was the craziest thing too. And like I smacked him up pretty good, just not knowing anything. I just swung and had heart, and I was in really good shape. And but yeah, I pushed that guy pretty hard, and I ended up losing a decision. And then my next fight, I fought Justin Janes, who was at that time he was 13-5, and was the lightweight champion for the XCC. And then I beat him. I TKO'd him again. I was 0-1 fighting a guy with 18 fights and a title. Like, how does that make sense? And then I fought another guy. My third fight was an undefeated guy, Jordan Parsons. He was 5-0 at the time. And then I beat him. So then they're like, okay, well, you already beat the champ. We're stripping him, and you might as well fight this guy for the title. And then I fought Eric Moon, who was 9-0 at that time as an amateur. And that was my 4th fight. Again, I was just over my head. I was 2-1. Now I'm fighting this guy that's 9-0. Had all this college wrestling under his belt. And, at that time, I had maybe a year and a half of training.
Wow. So I would have always thought just kind of the way you fight and your style and everything, I would have thought you've been doing martial arts ever since you were a little kid.
I can pick things up pretty quick.
Yeah.
You show me something, I can make it happen.
Yeah, you're a sponge.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty remarkable just to have you even competing with me, because I've always been such a fan, and I watch you destroy guys on the Fighting Spirit days, like when they used to happen on the reserves, and you go and you get your cornmeal, and you sit cage side in an auditorium, And then you just watch a lot of like future stars that really came out of those things, like Mency, yourself, and I don't think Ronson ever fought on the reserve
No,
ones. He did a lot of the
he was
kickboxing.
fighting a lot out east at that time,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, he never got into the.
Yeah. Did you ever go to Japan or anything like that?
I was supposed to.
You fought in Afghanistan, though.
Fought in Afghanistan.
How was that?
Yeah, that was funky. That was weird.
Tell me about it.
Like, you fly over there, and we had 3 days from the time we flew to when we fought, and then like the time change just blows you away.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you should be sleeping and you're fighting, and just everything about that was weird because they had the ring outside, right? And then so basically at the base there's a big like hill just outside of the base, and they would launch rockets. They would go behind this hill and just launch rockets onto the base and just hope for the best, right? And hope they hit people.
Yeah.
And it just so happened right where the ring was, a rocket had just hit a few months earlier and killed 4 people. So we're doing our rules meeting, and they're going, okay,
For a rocket
we're
attack.
going to take away elbows because we don't want guys cut up for this. Like, we just want to have clean fights and not worry about cuts and get you guys back home safe. Spinning back fists are cool. If the rocket alarm goes off and you're in the fight, just stop, roll out of the ring, and go under it. I'm like, what the fuck did he just say? If the rocket alarm goes off during your fight, like this was something that you had to be prepped for.
That was a part of the rules meeting.
That was a real thing.
Wow.
And I was like, all right, that's cool.
So is that in your head the whole time? Who'd you fight on that card?
Rory McDonald.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because there was who else was on that card? Boyan.
Boyan went. Yeah.
Pecker.
Pecker fought. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was his last fight.
He
Wasn't it?
had Josh Trevini.
Yeah.
There was only 5 fights, so there's only 10 of us. Those are the guys I can remember. I can't remember the.
And
other
that was
guys.
like, what year was that?
Couldn't
That was
tell you.
really early in the days, like
I couldn't tell
2010, 11, I would think. I think that's
it
when
was
happened.
my 6th pro fight, 5th or 6th.
Yeah. Now you have a lot of support. I met your mom a few times, and she seems to be like a super gross. Where did the name Ghost come from? I've always wanted to ask you.
That came from Mency. A
Yeah.
lot of me is from Mency's doing. I was on a King of the Cage poster with Eric Moon, Marcello Salinas, who's an Italian guy.
He's fighting on the card in September.
Yeah,
too.
I was training with him yesterday.
Yeah, I'm excited. He's fighting CLB.
Yeah, he was
That's the
told-
plan.
Yeah.
Not official, but
we,
that's
we
that.
talked about it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow,
Be a good scrap.
that's gonna be a great scrap. Now you've had a little bit of time off, kind of a break, and a lot has happened. You're a dad now.
I'm a dad. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
and,
crazy.
How does that? How has that changed you? Is it?
Oh yeah, you can't. If you have a kid and it doesn't change you, I don't know if you're a human being, man. Like, there's a definite there's a takeover when you have a child.
Now does it make you softer? I know it's made me softer as a dad. I'm more, I'm not gonna drive 140 kilometers on the 401 anymore. I'm gonna do 120.
Yeah.
I kind of scale it back a little bit because now like long-term preservation is.
I think when I'm with my son, I'm definitely a lot softer and patient, and I'm into whatever he's doing, and we play and we do everything together. When I'm out and about without him, no,
You're a
still
goddamn
a bit of a psychopath. If you don't, you want to find that out, get in my way and say the wrong thing. Like,
Yeah. So what have you been doing to keep active since the layoff?
So when I stopped fighting,
Why did you stop fighting?
financial.
Yeah.
It is a tough career to make a buck off and really support yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get by, or at least I was getting by, but it was just not looking promising.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a part of comes a time, I guess, right? Like I was,
now
like
is it just
I was
frustrating?
25 or 26 or so, right? And I'm living in a house with 4 guys, and then I was like, this is too much, and then I like took on more hours at a job, and then I got an apartment with just one guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, how long am I gonna keep doing this for? Like this kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm.
You're like I could barely afford the apartment, splitting it, and it was like I'm definitely never going to be able to get a house. Like, if I had a child then, I'd be screwed. Like, we'd be really scraping by. So I got an opportunity with one of my sponsors. Liuna sponsored me for a couple years there. And I walked out of the second last fight I had was with Tony Hervey. And I walked out of the cage after winning the fight, and like I was like just depressed. You know, it was a really weird feeling because you won, and I come out and they're like, yeah, right, and I'm like, eh. And I remember just shaking one of the board members' hands. I was like, can I have a job? And he's like, are you kidding me, man? You're doing awesome. Like, you're killing it. I was like, I'm sick of this shit. You know, he's like, are you kidding me? I was like, yeah, man. I was like, this ain't worth it, man. You know, and it was right there. I'm still dripping, sweating, bleeding. I was like, this ain't worth it. This is crazy.
But that spark has never gone away.
The spark doesn't go away. It's just I wanted to be able to live a comfortable lifestyle, right? Like, I was tired of can't do this because can't afford it, right? Can't go here, can't afford it. Have to ride a bicycle everywhere because can't afford a car. Like that, it just sucks. And you just, it's not that you don't want to fight. I love fighting. I'll fight you right now. I don't care. Just when that's your job and it doesn't pay the bills and you're putting so much work into it, it's like,
Looking for a return on investment.
Right? Like, it's just not adding up. And it just wasn't making sense. So Liuna gave me a job, and I was making the same money in a week that I was in a fight that took me 2.5 months, to get ready for. And it was like, what the hell?
Now, how does the missus feel about this?
Oh, she's on board now, and
She wasn't.
Let me tell you why. So she was. We were never together when I fought. I met her about a year or so after I retired, and we've been together ever since. But she knows me, like, of fighting, and she's seen a couple videos, kind of thing.
So she doesn't know the real Savage.
Yeah, she's never seen me get ready for a fight. She's never seen one. She's never had to sit there and watch me do this. But what she has had to sit through is, so since I've stopped MMA, I played a couple years of lacrosse. I went back to that, had a bunch of fights in there, and then I went to soccer. I ended up getting in 2 fights at soccer. Started baseball, had to punch a guy out at baseball.
At baseball, punch the guy out at baseball. I love it.
Then I had a little bit of a road rage incident where I chased a guy down and things got messy. And then, So anyway, she's like, maybe you should just go back to fighting. And I was like, thank you.
She gave you the green light.
So I didn't think she would go for it. Like, I was thinking it, but I didn't ask her. We had a son, and I was like, I'd rather not, right? But, she's looking at me like, if you sign up for badminton league, you're probably going to go to prison, Like, you just can't.
You just hit me with that dickie?
Like, I have no room for people who think they're going to say anything to me and get away with it. I take it pretty seriously.
Yeah. You've always been a straight shooter, and that's why I think I respected you so much. Why I respect you so much is because you just tell it like it is.
Yeah.
And if someone's being a bitch, they're being a bitch. You say it, and it's not. It's never said in a toxic way, but it's a real. It's a fight or flight, and it's. That's I've always admired that about you, and I'm stoked. Like September 28th, I'm gonna actually have you back again because your last fight was with me for the same cause, which was the knockout kidney disease, and that was the 3rd time you fought Justin James.
Yeah,
he had an interesting walkout too.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
it was weird. He was like I just mentioned with my first 4 amateur fights. So he was the first guy I ever got a win against, and then he was the last guy I got a win against. And in between there's 27 other fights between amateur and pro, and in there we fought a 3rd time where he won the middle one. But yeah, I've done a lot of fights. Done a lot of camps. I had camps where got right up to the scale and then didn't end up fighting. Like, so
you're probably the scariest guy I've ever seen in a weight cut. And I've seen a lot of guys backstage during weight cuts. They change. They're not the same guy. They're very different. Your face is real withdrawn. Your lips are all chapped to shit, and you're grumpy. And I remember. Like every encounter that I've ever had with you, it's always been very positive. It's always been very friendly, and you're very inviting, and I've always felt very comfortable. And it was the only time I've ever kind of felt somewhat uncomfortable with you was during a weight cut. And I walked by you, and it was like you didn't even recognize me. You just said, "When are the fucking weigh-ins happening?" And you said it. He said it so. I mean, it was a matter of fact. He goes, "Jamie, when are the fucking weigh-ins happening?" And your lips were, and I was like, "Soon. We're starting very, very soon." Like I was like, "Okay." And then in my head, going, "Okay, we better fucking start this before it grossly fucking snaps and hurt somebody, because it takes a lot out of you." Now, weight-wise, what are you gonna fight at this time? Are you doing the big dreaded weight cut, 45?
155.
You're gonna stay at 155.
Yeah. 45 was a lot of work to get to 45. Like I'm not a big lightweight, but I'm too big for 45. Like I can do it. It's hell. It really sucks. It takes a toll. Those days are done.
I think a lot of people are changing their tune on the way they do things now.
I've seen a lot of guys just fight closer to
it's more natural.
What's comfortable.
And think about it. Most guys are fighting each other. They're cutting so much weight. You're only going to fight at the same size anyways. You're both going to blow back up 10, 15 pounds. Why wouldn't you just fight at the natural weight instead of killing yourselves? Right?
Yes and no. At 45, I had a massive advantage because when I fought at 55, I'd usually walk into the cage about 172, 73.
Oh,
right?
Wow. That's thick.
That's at 55. When I fought at 45, I was at the same weight. When I was leaving my house to go to the venue and fight, I would be about 171, 72 pounds.
Jesus.
So I was getting back to the same size and at a weight class lower. So I had a pretty big advantage there.
Wow.
But it was just not sustainable. I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't do it repeatedly. You couldn't call me up and be like, "Yeah, can you fight next weekend?" Like at 55, I did all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I took a lot of fights on a week's notice and less. 45, no way. I needed a solid 2-3 months, and it was just pure dieting and cardio constantly.
How do you stay so disciplined? Is that just a mentality? Like, what do you tell yourself on a daily basis to keep yourself? Because you're probably one of the most disciplined guys I know.
I'm also probably one of the most organized guys you'll know.
And I've told stories of ticket money. Ticket money, when you've turned in ticket money before.
Yeah.
And the way it came back to me was in bundles
Yeah.
and in rolls, and then a spreadsheet of about everybody where he sold a ticket, where his percentages were, and it was the most organized thing I've ever seen, and I was blown away.
Damn,
because,
came prepared, eh?
Yeah, and I said, fuck, we should get this guy a job at when I took the money to the bank, the lady at the bank goes, "Where'd all this come from?" I go, Jesse Gross. Like, you're not going to believe. Like, this guy showed up, and it was like, you are very, very organized, and that's a side of people.
So with that organization, I map out everything, and I can keep myself on track, and I know where I need to be going into a fight. Like if I have time to prepare, I actually have a full camp. Everything's scheduled, and I because you don't want to just okay, I'm fighting 2 months from now, and it's just a big picture, right? Break it down, individual small goals all the way across the way, and then that way you're constantly just reaching and you're just hitting these checkpoints or exceeding them, right? But I don't want to fall behind, and then that's how I get ready, and that's how I do it.
Mm-hmm. Quickly tell me about the bucket list.
Bucket list happened, it's been a while now, probably about 8 years back after a bad breakup with a pretty horrible woman. But I've kind of stepped back, and I was like, man, I've done nothing with my life except for fight. Like, this is cool, but as far as traveling, doing things, and I've done nothing. And so I just started just writing down all these ideas, everything I wanted to do. And I was like, boom, 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 just put it all. It took me 3 months just to write it out. And once it was on paper, I was like, wow, this is cool.
You're going to make it happen. Because I've kind of followed you along the way where it's you're ticking this one and ticking that one. And I'm like, this is fucking cool.
It's exciting. I've done a lot of things that just because they're on the list, and when you visualize, I can see it, right? So it's just in my face.
The cool one is take a trip somewhere off of money you found on the floor at the bar at the end of the night.
It was
he saved all the nickels
and
pennies.
$1,200.
Damn, really?
Yeah, he saved every cent that he could, and it took him on a trip.
That's how much drunk people drop money.
That's
I'm in the wrong line of business.
Absolutely.
I don't recommend taking a trip that way. That was 2 years of grabbing up loose change like an idiot.
But still, you did it though. It's the fact that you followed it through. That kind of shows how dedicated and what's your mindset on something. You're gonna do it, And that's what I really admire about you. Jesse, where can we find you?
I'm on Instagram more than anything. I have a Facebook account. I haven't used it in a couple years, so anybody that sent me friend requests or messages or anything, I'm not getting them. But I do have an account. I probably should hack onto it. Instagram is where I'm at. I'm on there all the time, and words with friends. That's how I talk to Eric Moon. Still, we play Scrabble and we chat.
That's hilarious.
That's
Fuck,
what
I could
all
talk
I
to you
do.
for hours. Okay, Jesse Gross, September 28th, the return. I'm really excited. Thank you for coming in with me today.
Thanks for having me, Jamie.
I'll see you soon. We need to do a photo shoot too. So I'll call you in and beautiful. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank my sponsor, Rycor Countertops. They deal in custom countertops in quartz, Corian, Meganite, laminate, and butcher block. They also have custom kitchen cabinetry, closets, laundry rooms, and millwork. They're family owned and operated for 18 years, knowledgeable and highly experienced staff, and friendly customer service. Head on over to 1069 Clark Road. Check out their showroom today.